So this is the idea. So we activate Giant Trunade. Chain Giant Trunade with Exodia Flame. So Exodia Blaze activates first. I think I misplayed, but... What is up, everybody? This is O-Artistry, and welcome back to the channel. Now, this is going to be a continuation video from where we last talked about the Exodia Millennium archetype. Now, obviously, that video had a lot of kind of success. Like, it had a lot of views. I was really surprised how much views it actually got, which, you know, that's awesome. Like, and I appreciate everybody, like, checking it out and looking at it. Like, I love all the, you know, the likes and the dislikes, as well as the comments, because that's the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, you know, as the basic meme, like, bro, let him cook. Like, the basis of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that, like, we all have different opinions of what's good, what's bad, you know, what we like, what we dislike, and I think that's pretty awesome. And, you know, it's good to see how kind of divisive the video is. Now, when I say divisive, it's me being like, this deck's, like, not good, and people defending it. Now, I think it's cool that obviously people are saying that it's pretty good, you know, and all that type of stuff. And since I did the video, the text has changed, and we've got new effects. Like, everything is being completely changed, updated, and I think, you know, what would be good. This video is gonna be very different from every other video. So what I wanted to do was kind of do a comparison, basically what the old text was versus the new text, because there is differences and important differences, and I think that's really, you know, good to basically talk about. But also, because of Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, we can use these cards and basically kind of show, like, me basically trying out the deck, trying to show off, like, some of its potential combos, and how the deck ultimately works. I will note that the extra deck is not that great in the terms of, I'm not particularly too sure, like, what to really put in it, per se. Like, obviously, you've got the Exodia Fusion monster, but the remainder of it, like, the other 12, I'm a bit, like, unsure of. So, you know, do put that as a note. Obviously, this is not like I think this is how the deck should be ran. This is just me looking at all the different combinations and how the deck works. And basically, this is kind of a more pure engine. Obviously, it does have 11 non-engine cards in it, but we'll basically kind of look at the deck and everything as we go. But first of all, we need to look at the comparisons, the differences of the cards. Okay, so for the most part, most cards and effects have pretty much stayed the same with some differences. So the original effects that haven't changed is pretty much every monster card will act, obviously, as a continuous spell and trap when face up on the field. So things like the caveman that awoke after a millennium, basically they still act as spells and traps. However, the thing that is important to note about those three is its effect, which is that it is optional to pay the life points, the 2,000 life point cost. So the original was that if this card is a continuous spell, you pay 2,000 life points and reveal one Millennium Cross in your hand, special summon this card, and then add one Millennium Monster or Synergen from deck to hand. However, the new effect is that if this card is a continuous spell, you can reveal the Millennium Cross or pay 2,000 life points. So instead of and pay, it's or. So basically that is a huge change and a good buff. Well, not a good buff. Yeah, buff? Debuff? Buff. I think that's right. I'm pretty sure I'm correct in that. So basically what this does is, instead of it being that you have to show the spell and do a cost, it's either you show the spell card or pay 2,000 life points. Now the card that this changes the most is the Shield of the Millennium Dynasty, which is the Millennium Shield Retain. Basically, this card was, obviously, you pay 2,000 life points and reveal the Millennium Cross, so you can special summon this card and then add another Millennium Cross from deck to hand. However, now, because this is only an optional effect, so that you have to pay either the 2,000 or reveal Millennium Cross, basically this makes it much better. Like, I will say Shield of the Millennium Dynasty is a much better card because it's the only one that can search Millennium Cross if you don't have one in hand. It's technically the only one you need to pay the 2,000 life point cost. The rest of them can use their effects without paying any additional life points. So if you're going first and you start with 8,000, obviously you're going to have 6,000 life points, you know, to if say you don't have Millennium Cross, and that's very important. One thing I will say that was noted that I didn't note in the last video, or I think I did but didn't really go into much depth analysis, was that each of these monsters, I think even the illusion ones, let me just double check those, yes, even the illusion ones, basically they are a mix of soft and hard once per turn. So the soft effect is obviously if this card is in the hand, you can place it face up in your spell and trap zone. However, the hard effect once per turn is if this is the continuous spell and you activate the rest of the effect. So basically, you could have multiple copies of Shield Millennium Dynasty, and I believe what will happen, if I'm correct here, I could be wrong, that basically you can only use, like, you could put 2 Shield of the Millennium Dynasties, let's say, in your spell and trap zone. However, you would only be able to activate one of their effects, if that makes sense. Basically, yes, because of the less need of paying the life point cost, it makes the deck have, I would say, definitely argue, a better buff. However, interestingly enough, Exodia Blaze did also have a change. So, one thing that I didn't realize was first of all, that when you pay for half the life points, obviously you can't activate other cards or effects for the rest of the turn. You can destroy as many cards in the spell and trap zone as possible, then equip 2 Forbidden One monsters from your hand or deck to this card, and it gives 2,000 attack points. Now the change is that you take the 5 and you equip them. So basically, instead of 2 pieces being on board, you're now having 5. Now, this is obviously hoping that you are ending the game. One of the best ways that you could do this is, obviously, say your opponent's going first, and you're running Nibiru. Obviously, you Nibiru the board. Then you can play the Millennium Cross, get your monsters high attack points, activate, the Exodia Blaze, so then it has, 10,000, and then when it attacks, it would have 18,000, because technically you haven't paid any life point cost. This is the best case scenario. So it would have 18,000, inflict piercing. It would be enough to take your opponent out that way. That's like the best. That's what I've seen as the best move as possible, because obviously if it attacks a defense monster, it inflicts piercing. So obviously you would always put the Nibiru token in defense mode, regardless of even if you're running this or not. So that's the best way I've seen. Now, some people were debating obviously Giant Trunade with this card. Now, you would have to activate Giant Trunade first, and then you would activate Exodia Blaze second as a chain. So Exodia Blaze then would activate first, and then Giant Trunade would activate second, which would return all the Exodia cards back to hand. Now, obviously, Giant Trunade is banned. However, this Exodia Blaze does say that you cannot activate other cards or effects for the rest of the turn. Since this effect would initially resolve, I'm not 100% sure whether, even if you play Giant Trunade first and chain it on Exodia Blaze, you would then be able to use Giant Trunade. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd have to double check that essentially, because that may or may not work. Like, you could activate that or it might not resolve. I'm not 100% sure. That could easily actually be a reason why Giant Trunade could never leave the list, is because you could essentially take your opponent out with Exodia doing it this way. Obviously, I always thought Giant Trunade had a possibility that it could come off the list, but if if with this being a viable strategy, if that does work, it will not come off the ban list, because that would be a very easy way of getting Exodia into hand, so that would give you victory, essentially. So that's pretty much all the changes. There's not really been anything else. Now, obviously, one of the major downsides to the Exodia strategy, with it being all in your spell and trap zone, obviously if that doesn't with the giant grenade, it means that all your spells and traps are locked up, meaning you cannot play any other, not that you can activate any cards or effects for the rest of the turn, which does that also include the Phantom Exodia Incarnate? Like, does that negate Exodia's own effect? Because it says, that's actually a very good, valid question, because basically you cannot activate other cards or their effects for the rest of the turn. So does that mean that basically Phantom Exodia Incarnate would only have 10,000? Would it not even be able to use its own if this card battles during damage calculation, it gains attack equal to your current life points? Because obviously it's making it you can't activate other cards or effects, and obviously when this battles, that is an effect. So would that be negated? I'm not 100% sure. The other thing is, obviously, once per turn during the end phase, you can set an Exodia spell trap from your deck, which obviously will not activate because you have all your 5 pieces in your spell and trap zone. So that's the only other issue I can really think of. That could come into play. I'm actually very curious about that. I didn't even think of that. So that's a very good question. That's pretty much it from all the effects and the changes. Now, obviously, the best strategy that I've seen is having Temple of the Stone Slabs and then basically any illusion monster. What you would do is you would activate Temple of the Stone Slabs first, which would then allow you to use its ability to play any of the other Millenniums. It doesn't matter which one it is, but what it allows you to do is play one. Then you can place one Millennium monster from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell, which is going to be the Shield of Millennium Dynasty. So basically, that is then the card you always want to put, and then you're either paying the 2,000 life point cost, or you're I can't think, or you're paying the 2,000 cost or revealing the Millennium Cross. The best card, technically, would be the Golem that guards the Millennium Treasures. So, obviously, there's one or two ways that this is happening. The best way of doing it is using the... first you play the Temple of the Stone Slabs, use this ability to put Golem of the Millennium Treasures, basically face up. In your continuous spell and trap zone. Then you would then use the place the shield, activate the shield's effect. If you need to, pay the 2,000 life point cost. Then it would search the Millennium Cross. Then you would activate Golem of the Guards, the Millennium Treasures. So then that allows you to reveal the Millennium Cross, special summon the Golem, which then adds the Temple of the Stone Slabs from your deck to your hand. What that then does is then it makes it that the activation of your Millennium Cross cannot be negated. So then you then play Millennium Cross, which then shuffles Exodia wherever it is, and then you summon the Phantom Exodia Incarnate. So basically that's the best move, and then during the end phase you would set the trap card, Exodia Flame. So, if you control level 10 or higher, you destroy all cards your opponent controls. So that's what you would do with that, basically, during your opponent's turn. So that's the best card that you can set there. Does this give any protection? Oh yeah, so basically, the Millennium Dynasty can't be destroyed by spell and trap effects, and obviously the Golem is making it the Millennium Cross can't be negated. So that's the best move going first, in my opinion. If you're going first, that's the opening move that you're going to want to play, your opening combo, as I believe the best case scenario, but we're going to test that out. We're going to have a look into that. But first of all, what are cards that ultimately kill this deck? This deck relies on Millennium Cross, unless you're paying the 2,000 life point cost, now that it's optional instead of mandatory. but Millennium Cross is what basically this deck revolves around. So if Millennium Cross is negated, then sure, it gets shuffled back into the deck instead of being sent to the graveyard. But if Millennium Cross is banished, then or can't be used, then that's a big problem. So, for example, Anti-Spell Fragrance is a very good trap card that makes it that you have to set Millennium Cross first. And then you could use things like, surprisingly, Curse of the Forbidden Spell. That is the ultimate this kills this deck. Basically, if Curse of the Forbidden Spell activates and resolves on Millennium Cross, it makes it that you can never play Millennium Cross ever again for the remainder of the duel. So you could use the effect. You could still use things like Caveman as a walking beat stick. So basically, that would have 2750. But otherwise, it technically gets killed. Interestingly enough, Vanity's Fiend, I think it is. I could be wrong there, or is it Vanity's Emperor? One of them, the one that prevents the special summoning, that kills this deck. Because basically it's a level 6, 2400 attack points, makes it that neither player can special summon monsters. If that is on the board, this, obviously you cannot special summon the fusion monster. You cannot even special summon the caveman from anywhere. They're just completely locked out. The skill drain kind of slows your opponent down. What I mean by that is when your opponent starts their combo, you would instantly play skill drain. So even though you'd be able to activate its effect because it's using its effect while it's a continuous spell and trap, it's when they play the Millennium Cross that summons the Exodia monster, then it doesn't have its effects. So the Exodia monster then has 0 attack points and there's nothing it can do about it. Essentially, that's what breaks it. However, obviously, Exodia Blaze will annihilate the rest of the board, so it does destroy all spells and traps. But then you could negate Exodia Blaze. So that's the thing about that. You'd have to then negate Exodia Blaze. Is there any other weaknesses? Obviously cards like Ash Blossom, Droll and Lockbird, those kind of hand traps, because the thing is what you want to negate is the Shield of Millennium Dynasty. If they're paying the 2000 life point cost to search for the Millennium Cross, it means they do not have it in hand, which means that's when you're using Ash Blossom. That is when you're dropping the Ash Blossom to negate the Millennium Shield of Dynasty. So, because even though you could summon Millennium Moon Maiden, let's say that's in your spell and trap zone, and obviously we're activating a monster effect, basically this just says you can't target level 5 or higher illusion or spellcaster monsters with card effects, but the Millennium Shield is obviously a rock, so that don't matter, essentially. So Ash Blossom on the Millennium Millennium Dynasty would basically negate that. So that's pretty much that situation. Yeah, obviously Millennium Cross is the biggest weakness. Their extra deck is also the biggest weakness. So, like I said with the Vanity monster, basically negating all the special summons. If you are running Monarchs, Domain of the True Monarchs makes it that your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. If you also have Vanities, Fiend or Emperor, whichever one it is, they can not only not summon from the extra deck, they can't special summon monsters in general, so that's a double shutdown bonus. So they wouldn't be able to summon that regardless. Banishing the Exodia pieces. Because Exodia Blaze would have to then be sent to the graveyard somehow to then shuffle them back. But basically, if you can take out Exodia before Exodia can be used, because basically if you use something like Card Destruction, let's say you're using Card Destruction, and you hit a single Exodia piece, Millennium Cross will not be able to activate, because it has to take the 5 from your hand deck or face up on the field, and then special summon the Phantom God Exodia Incarnate from your deck. Basically, what I find funny about this is Millennium Cross is trying, because if it was face up from the extra deck, if the Exodia Blaze had its original effect of only the 2, you could then activate Millennium Cross to shuffle those 2 back into the deck, so you could summon a second copy of Exodia, because they'd be face up on your field. However, obviously you have all 5 face up, so you wouldn't be able to activate Millennium Cross because you have no space. But yeah, I think I've talked about all the effects. I think that is pretty much everything about it. So I'm going to now show what deck I'm running at this stage. Okay, so just as a heads up, basically this is the first time that I've used Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega even. What am I on about? But basically this is the deck. I've called it Millennium Exodia. My face is blocking it. Apparently this deck would come to $63.80, $80, you know, 80p. For whatever reason, I don't understand why. But basically I'm running 3 copies of the Millennium Cross, 3 copies of the Golem, 2 copies of the Fiend Reflection, and 2 copies of the Moon Maiden. I don't think these guys are as good. You don't want to see them as much, but basically you want to see Millennium Dynasty, and you want to see Awoke After the Millennium. Basically, Shrine of Weju, if that's the name that they're going to keep it as, basically, I'd say you only need 2 of those. I don't think you need 3. You don't want to clog it up. But obviously you need to see Millennium Cross as much as possible, so you want to run 3. Exodia Blaze, I would say at best is 2. I don't think this is necessarily a 1-of, because if it's negated, that's that. 1 Obliterate, because I think Obliterate is useful in this deck, and Legendary Exodia Incarnate also works, I believe, with Exodia Blaze. So that's also a pretty good strategy if you want to do that, and then Raging Flare, Hellfire, Exodia Flame, basically have that at 2. Obviously you need the 5, you know, pieces of Exodia, so we're going to do that. I've then got Pot of Prosperity, so it banishes 3 to 6 cards of your choice from your extra deck face down. For the rest of the turn, if this affects, any damage your opponent takes is halved, but you excavate the top card from your deck equal to the number of cards banished. Add 1 excavated card, put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. And then you cannot draw cards by the effect of, you know, but basically this isn't drawing, this is searching, so this kind of doesn't matter with Pot of Prosperity. The reason why I'm just using all these fusion monsters, they're just random fusion monsters, because basically they're Pot of Prosperity targets, so we're just getting rid of these, and we're keeping the Phantom Exodia. 3 Nibiru, so if your opponent is playing multiple monsters, basically we can summon the Nibiru monster token in defense mode, and pretty much stop their major plays, and then inflict the piercing with the Exodia Blaze. Essentially, Ash Blossom to negate their searches, 1 Infinite Impermanence, and then 1 Call by the Grave. Pretty much we don't want to have our strategies interrupted. That may be bumped up more, but obviously then you'd have to take some of these out for cost. So basically I've tried to make it as like a pure variant, and all that type of stuff. Okay, so while I couldn't really do anything in terms of decks, what I can actually do is use test hands. So funny enough, I actually open with the Millennium Cross. We also have the Maiden, Pot of Prosperities, and 2 Nibirus. So this is like not the best hand in the world, but we do have Millennium Cross. So we're gonna activate Millennium Cross. So obviously this shows all our cards. Boom. Okay, which allows us to summon our Exodia monster. Then we can activate the Pot of Prosperity. So obviously we banish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they'd go. No, we wouldn't activate obviously because that would negate. So we could choose Shrine of Weju at this point, so that would be pretty useful, or we could choose something like Infinite Impermanence, negate some effects, or anything like that. But I think the best thing to do at this stage is, or we could get another Millennium Cross. We could get another Millennium Cross, but obviously we wouldn't be able to pay the 2,000 life point ability. I think the best thing to do would be the Shrine, and then obviously these would be shuffled back into the deck. So we'd activate the Field Spell. We wouldn't negate the effect. We'd activate the Shrine as a chain. I think it was gonna do the Exodia. effect, basically. So now, can we not activate this effect? What have I done to... Oh, was it the Exodia card? Is there a way of checking... Dual log, here we go. So, Millennium Cross, what does this do? What is it doing? You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, but you can normal summon set. Shuffle this card, sending it to the graveyard instead. Oh, okay, so I misplayed with that. That's fine. Can I close that? Okay. And then we would pretty much enter in there, because that's our first... Like, our first thingy. But we can activate Exodia Incarnate, so we would either set Exodia Flame or Exodia Blaze. Basically, depends on the move. I would choose Exodia this thing, and we do it that way. So we could activate Exodia Blaze, Exodia Flame, even, but we don't need to do that, so no. Set a card to activate a card effect, no. We don't need to do A-Forces. Moon Maiden, so we could special summon this, which would protect our card from battle card effects, but we don't need to do that yet. No, we don't need to do Banner of Courage. No. Your opponent is about to move to the next phase. Activate card effect. At the start of the battle phase, activate a card effect. No. Planet is targeted. Activate a card effect. So this would basically, in theory, gain. Am I wrong in this? How do I Where's Exodia, real quick. The fusion card. Here it is. Once per turn, when a card where are we? During damage calculation quick effect, you can make this card gain attack equal to the current life points. Oh right. During the battle phase, no. During damage calculation. Now we activate the effect. Yes. Basically, I don't know why they did that. At the end of the damage step, that's our trap card. Activate. No. Main phase 2. Your opponent is about to move to the next phase. Activate a card effect now. Yes. So now we can activate this card. So we can now set another. And then we can chain that as well. So we can do Exodia Blaze. Nice. Then, because it's still the end phase, we can activate Exodia Blaze. But we won't chain that with that. So it pops all the cards, activate a card or effect. So now we can activate this. Don't chain. Select this. Resolved. Activate a card effect. No. During the dawn phase, activate a card effect. Wise. Okay, so I have to pay that life point cost. Why did this not work? I'm confused. Why did this not activate? I'm so confused. Why is this not... How do I get off the graveyard? Why did this not activate? Because I did this during my turn, no? Why has this also got 8,000 attack points? Is it permanently 8,000? For what reason? Oh! Now I did it. Did I? No? Ah, right. So now I did it for whatever reason. I'm so confused right now at this point. This app is very confusing. Now it has 18,000. How do I go to battle phase? Because basically we would end our opponent. It has 18,000. Although, why would it be 18,000? I didn't realize that it would actually say at the end that it wouldn't go back to 0. Don't activate effect. Okay. So let's do a rematch. So this is a new hand. Okay, so this is interesting. Interesting. Okay, so basically the attack points is actually a permanent boost, which I didn't realize. Is there a way I can make that bigger? I don't think I can. Okay. So basically what we can do is activate this effect so we can put it in the spell and trap zone. Activate this effect so we can put it in the spell and trap zone. And then activate this effect so we can put it in the spell and trap zone. But we activate this card's effects, we pay the 2,000 life point cost, we're not activating any effects, so we summon the shield, put the shield in defense mode because he has 3,000, add a Millennium Cross. I love how that's optional, so you could say no. And then... Okay, so this is much better. Like, this seems more likely. And then that's that, and we put that in attack mode. Boom. Resolve unknown. The chain is ended, activate a card or effect. No, because I wouldn't obviously use Exodia Blaze at this stage. Instead, what I'd do is I'd go to the end phase, activate Exodia's effect. Yes. No. Set this. Basically. No. During the end phase, activate a card or effect. No. Yeah. So I could have used these, I could have carried on the plays, because obviously I had Millennium Cross in hand, so I could have continued the plays, so I could have added extra cards, which I probably should have done first. So, again, I misplayed. No. Battle Step, yes. It's funny that they're attacking this. Do I want to surrender? No. But I don't want to activate this either. It's forcing me to play this. Oh, now it's making me use this. Oh, no, because it would negate the activation. No. For Pete's sake, I have to negate that. That's so stupid. Now it's damage calculation. And now we get this equals to our life points. Why is that 6,000? Oh, yeah, because we paid the 2,000 life point cost. Activate from the monsters. Oh, I'm being so stupid. Well, we didn't need to technically do that. So that's interesting, because now we've got Exodia Blaze. So we'll activate Blaze. No. A chain is... No. Draw phase, activate card or effect. No. Done by phase. Yes, because I have to pay the 1,000 life points. No. Resolved the Exodia Incarnate. Activate an effect. No. During the standby phase, activate a card effect. No. Again, this thing is being a pain in the backside. I think now it's done it, I think? It's so confusing how this app works. But now this has 16,000, which obviously we would then go to battle phase and we then go our opponent. Okay, so I could have obviously extended plays. Would that also gain additional? If I use that effect of yes to gain attack equal to the life points, does that make it go ridiculous? That's actually something I need to test. Okay, let's test that. Let's test that. Okay, so this hand is not as good. Obviously we would... Okay, so here's the idea. We Millennium Dynasty Shield. I just call it Millennium Shield. Pay the 2,000 life point cost. Summon it, put it in defense mode, add Millennium Cross. And then we activate the Millennium Cross. And then... Yes. 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 Why did that not get shuffled in? Why is that not shuffled in? Why is that still in my hand? What is that? What? It says to shuffle everything from hand, field, and face up on the field. Am I wrong about that? What has happened here? Has the game not incorporated this? Is there an effect? Millennium Cross. Show 5 from hand, deck, or face up on the field. Special summon Exodia from the deck. Shuffle any face-up monster cards you control into the deck, except for Exodia cards, which original is 10 or higher, or Millennium Monsters. Except engine. You cannot... Some special... Oh, so the Exodia cards in hand never leave. Interesting. I do not want to put an Exodia piece on the board. What I wanted, it's making me play Exodia. I don't know why it's making me play Exodia. I literally didn't want to do that, but it's forced me to play Exodia. Well, that's actually really fascinating. I misread that. So basically, they stay in hand. Interesting. No, don't activate that. Okay. So the best thing to add at this stage, I would probably say, is probably Nibiru, to be honest. Nibiru would be the optimal play. The rest would be shuffled into the deck, because if your opponent's summoning multiple monsters to get rid of to deal, Nibiru would be the best thing to play. And then you could play this face up, and then obviously you can't activate another pawn. And then we'd N10A, and then obviously we'd activate this, so it allows us to set the track card. We're always setting the track card with this effect. All the time. Activate your card effects. No, not the battle phase, damage calculation. There we go. So it gains all that. Activate the effect of... Yes, because this allows us to set this. Okay, there we go. My turn. Draw phase. I'm not going to activate any cards. It's the draw phase. So now it's the standby phase, so now I have to pay the 1,000 life point cost. Okay, so now we activate Exodia Blaze. Don't negate it. We select this card. And then... Why... I'm so confused. What's happening? There we go. Because I could summon that, but I'm not going to summon that. Why is Exodia Blaze not activated this time? So confused. Guess I'm getting rid of a copy of Exodia for this. I'm so lost right now. Infinite Impermanence. And then just shuffle everything back. Now, if I flip this into attack mode and then activate Millennium Cross, can I legit shuffle everything back? Like, is that... So that's selecting the 5? Yes. Oh, there we go. Yep, yes, that's what I'm doing. Now I've got 2 of them. I can't actually see my life points. So I don't know what my life points are. Oh, 5,000, there we go. I see now my life points. So battle. So they only have 2,400, so I'm going to use this to attack. Damage calculation. Ah, so it does gain the additionals. Interesting. So this gets stronger and stronger literally every time it battles. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that. Okay, so we definitely had a lot of misplays there, so obviously mistakes happened. Oh, now this is a hand. This is a hand. This is a very, very good hand. Okay. Shrine. Activate Shrine. This allows us to place this, which allows us to place this. We activate this. We pay the 2,000 life point cost. Activate a card or a fast effect. No. Which summons this in defensive mode to add a Millennium Cross from deck to hand. Now we can activate this. Reveal this. What is it that's trying to activate? Ash Blossom. No, why would we Ash Blossom? We can summon this in attack mode. It doesn't really matter. And then we can add another copy of this because we can. So it's additional just in case. And we obviously have Exodia Flame, so we can set the Exodia Flame, which is really nice. And then we can activate Millennium Cross. Woohoo! So there we go. There we go. Okay, now we're cooking. We're cooking with this. Okay. So this is now there. We could have technically done this as well. We could have played this, which I forget what this does. So obviously we can't summon any other monsters, but if I look at the dual log, what does this one do? I always forget about this one. So I misplayed because I could have used this as well. So if this card is in the hand, you can add Millennium or Synergen. Okay, so we could have added, whoops, daisies, another Millennium monster from deck to hand, and we could have saved that for another turn. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So we'll end turn there, and now we can activate this effect, which will allow us to set this. Don't activate it. Don't activate it. No, this is never activating. Now, obviously, they keep attacking our monster, which is ridiculous, because obviously they would not be doing that. Don't do that. Targeted for an attack? No. Battle phase? No. Damage calculation? Yes. At the end of the battle phase? No. Main phase 2? They're about to activate a card effect? No. So during the end phase, now we can activate that. Activate a card or effect? No. No. And no. So we end our turn there. Ooh, that's nice, actually. That's nice. Activate a card or effect? Not yet. Not yet on that either. Right. So we have to do this. So during your standby phase, we lose 1,000. We could chain this. And don't activate that, basically. So we lose the 1,000 life points. Resolve. No. During the standby phase. No. Why does this not play? I never understand this card, man. Oh, now it does. Now it did it. I never understand why that doesn't work. So activate a card or effect. No. Yes, because this allows us to do that. Interestingly enough, weirdly, the field spell stayed on the board, and I don't understand why the field spell has survived. But now it has 16,000. These didn't get destroyed, which I'm not too sure why. Oh yeah, because it's all spells and traps, not monsters. Hadoi. And obviously there's nothing else we can do. Like, we can't play like any spells and traps. We could summon that by tributing, ironically. How do I get rid of the graveyard again? There we go. So now we can use this to battle. So we have 2,500 life points. So that's not a lot of life points. During damage calculation. But we can make this gain, so it's 185. Okay. So that's really solid, I would argue. But unfortunately, our opponent is not using... Is there a way we can make our opponent... So there's test hands. So I can't change... Is there a way we can change that? Is there a way we can change that? Because basically, I want to make it that we're facing a much tougher deck. Basically. So just real quick, I'll see if I can... Oh yeah, because we can wave the wave flag. We surrender! We lost! Oh no! Oh! Let's say we're going first. Okay, so they have... Okay, I figured it out, Oh my goodness, that was annoying. Okay, so this is not the best hand that we could have had. But we can activate this. This will pay us 2,000 life points. No. So we can summon this in attack mode. Add a Millennium Monster. So we have to add this from deck to hand. And then we can activate its effect. And then we have to use this effect, so we have to pay, so we have half our life points. Don't activate an effect, so we summon this in defense mode, and then this allows us to add Millennium Cross. What? Okay. Then we activate Millennium Cross. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so interestingly. So you never want to see, you still never want to see Exodia, because it's not being shuffled, it stays in your hand. No. Do I want to activate that now? Or set it? No. So what I'm going to do is end turn, and then during the end phase, activate its effect. So we can add... No. And then set this. There we go. No. No. There we go. Okay, right. So now we can activate Obliterate if we so choose, but I'm not going to. Okay, doing this... Main phase. Sojin! This is Blue Eyes! What? Is this the Kaiba Star deck? Have I done goofed? Hello? Aren't you a rock? Am I? And they ended turn? You're gonna die! Hold up. What are you? I'm so confused. I'm sure, I'm positive. This is rock. Where are you? Millennium Shield. Here you are. You're a warrior? Since when have you a warrior? I'm positive that's a rock. That's not a warrior. I'm positive. Hang on, let me double check the Discord. Let me have a look. This is an Earth rock. So this game thinks that it's an Earth warrior. Which is it? I don't know. I don't know. Why does it think during your standby phase you lose 1,000 life points? Yeah, that's fine. No, I will not chain that. No. During the standby phase, activate a card effect. Hold up. I hate this dual log. Activate this. Don't activate card effect as a chain. Select this. Don't activate that. So the effect. No. So now we have these. Okay, so now it has 10,000. Battle phase. We only have 1,500. So we lost a lot of life points. I just want to point that out there. We did lose a lot of life points because we didn't have a Millennium Key. Damage calculation. So this is only going to get 115,000. So it's still really good, but as you can see, because we didn't have a single Millennium Cross, that's a lot of life points we had to go through, where we only had like 1,500. In a game 3, in a tournament, obviously time is of the essence. So, like, I feel like these games do go incredibly quick, though, like these rounds. So, let's do, I think I got this wrong. So, let's do local, host, add a bot, make it, I have no idea, Cyber Dragon. Let's do that. Yes, first. Okay, because that's going to be better. Okay. So this is the worst hand that we've gotten so far. But we can activate this effect, put it there. And we can activate this effect, and we can put it there. And that's pretty much all we can do. So there's nothing we can do. So if our opponent summons multiple monsters, why Fossil Dig in a Cyber Dragon strategy? Hello? Eater of Millions? What am I looking at here? Pardon? Okay, so that's another really bad one. So I'm actually going to set this just in case. I should have activated the effect of the thing there. Okay, so they're searching the card. Yes. So we're going to activate this one. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to summon the other one. Oh, yes. What's happening? I don't know. Millennium Maiden, special summon this is continuous spell as a chain link. Summon in defense mode. Why did that not summon the other one? I wanted to chain it. I'm so confused. Yes, I want to summon it. In defensive mode, gain the life points to have a monster. So obviously this is the highest monster on the board. So that's the first one. I mean, I could Nibiru, but that's the best I can do. This will be good for Eater of Millions. No. 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 Obviously, these can't be destroyed by battle card effects, so this is quite hilarious that we have this wall of just, I have all these monsters! Oh, brother! Okay, so technically, what we could do is, this has 1500, so we can swap it to attack mode, activate, yes, I want to activate Infinite Impermanence. I want to choose this, so it has its effects negated, so we can go into battle phase, and we can swing at this. You are not getting your effect, Eater of Millions. Oh yeah, but neither is destroyed. I forgot about that. I forgot. Oh no. So we're taking 500, like, twice from those. Whoops. So I took 1,000 points for no reason. I forgot. Oh, okay. Swap to defense mode. So we can activate this effect, put this down. This gives us the field spell. That's not helpful. That's ironically not helpful. We have to enter it again. Okay, so this is the worst hand that we've had. If this was a top meta deck, we'd definitely be dead by now. I love how they keep trying. Whoa, actually, the Trek card destroyed me. Okay, okay. Here we go. Millennium Shield. Boom. Activate Millennium Shield. Pay 2,000 life point cost. Activate card effect. No. Summon this. In defense mode. Add Millennium Cross. Yes. Ah! And then, don't do that. Activate this. Reveal a Millennium Cross in hand. Yes. There we go. No, because that's the Ash Blossom. So summon this. We summon this in attack mode. Aha! Add the Temple. Yes. Okay. Now we can use Temple. But obviously we can't use Temple? Pardon? Select to place a card on the field. Wait? What? Can I do this? Am I cheating? I feel like I've cheated. What? Hold the phone. What did I just do that allowed me to do that? During the main phase, you can place just any monster as a continuous spell, and then one Millennium Monster or Synergen. Yo, that's actually kind of fire. Okay. So now we can activate this. Reveal a Millennium Cross in your hand. Yes. I show you this. Pay 2,000 life points. Reveal special summon. Oh yeah, no, it's not. It's trying to negate. So we put this in attack mode. Waha. Add one Millennium Monster. Yes. Add this thing. Place this thing. Millennium Cross. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Look at my board! Full of monsters. Activate a fast effect. Yes, we could do this. Activate a card or effect. No. Select the card. Yes. So this will give us half our life points. So we have 1750. Why is this still on the board? I don't know. Maybe it's because of my Millennium Shield. I don't know. Why is it protecting the field spell? I have no idea. Let's go to battle phase. Use the flip me. I don't know. Because what is? Let me double check the Eater of Millions. What does that do? I mean, I could technically negate it, so we kill it, but I'm scared. Eater of Millions. Eater of Millions. Eater of Millions. Where's Eater of Millions? Where is it? Eater of Millions. I just want to know. 5 more. Field graveyard. For each face down, can't be attributed. Once per turn at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that monster face down. Okay, well, let's find out. Let's see. Let's have Exodia face Eater of Millions. And it did it, and I couldn't even negate its effect. Wow, okay, so Eater of Millions apparently is the most terrifying card on the board. But now, because it's once per turn, we can kill it. Aha! And then we can use this to take out this. Get out of here. Right. Okay, so interesting. You crash? Yes, I place. Oh, they played Harpy's Feather Duster! Oh, no way! That actually worked. That was insane. Okay. This duel is interesting. So, Eater of Millions kills Exodia, ladies and gentlemen. That has just been discovered. Oh, Scapegoat. That's a lot of cards. This duel is incredibly close. Thank you for boosting my card. Whoa, they just linked off a whole load of cards. Borosword, I think, kills me. I think Borosword officially kills me. Unless I can get the... Unless I can get Exodia. Yes, Millennium Cross. Okay, I think we're live. I don't know. What does this do? I have no idea. What did that do? I'm going to ash it. I don't know what it did. Oh, brother, we can't activate Millennium Cross this turn? Are you serious? What I could do, ironically, is tribute these 2 cards, which I don't know if that's the right move. Yes. Let me summon Nibiru. I want to summon the giant rock. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. What I want to do, though, is go into the battle phase. Shut up. I want to attack. Why do you keep asking me to check things? I don't care. Oh, brother, shut up. I just want to end my turn. This app is annoying. Okay, so I summoned my card, swapped it to defense mode. Oh my word. Shut up! Oh, it's killing me. Okay, I lost. Okay, I think I misplayed. I think. But Ear Millions killed me. Interesting. Interesting. So, this has been quite a long video. And I think that I'm just going to end it here, basically. Okay, let's talk about my final thoughts, actually. Let's talk about my final thoughts. Camera, I think it is. Yes, there we go. Okay. So, final thoughts on the Exodia deck. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think this is a sleeping rogue deck. So, like, I think if you underestimated it, you would lose. Do I think it's going to top YCS's? Possibly. Okay, so, like, basically my expectations were incredibly low. When I initially looked at the Exodia support, I was like, you know, I don't think this is, you know, I was like, this strategy's not that great. And because the effect was and instead of or, I don't think it was as good. Now that the life point effect is optional, I think it's pretty decent. It's kind of convinced me that this has got potential, and I think it could be like a sleeper in the current meta. Maybe? I don't know. I think Yubel has better support, I think, and is a better strategy. I think this loses possibly to Labyrinth, possibly to Rescue Ace. I don't think it beats Fire King. Maybe give it a run for its money, possibly. Like, what are we thinking? Like, are we thinking that this could be a meta-defining deck? I'm not 100% sure. I think in terms of the rogues, and if you're taking it to locals, this could be incredibly fun. I think it has possibilities of doing quite decent in those kind of areas. But I think ultimately, would it top and win events? I think in the hands, here's the thing, in the hands of the best, like, in the best players, I think that maybe. I think that's a quite strong possibility. But I'm not too sure in terms of, you know, if I was starting out, let's say I was starting out, obviously Exodia itself is a bit costly to buy, and you need the 5 pieces to even run this deck, because it's been a while since Exodia has been reprinted, so they'd have to reprint Exodia at some point. Obviously they did, what was it, the quarter century raise? Something like that? That was the last time it was reprinted. Other than that, I want to say it was the Yu-Gi-Oh collection. Was it this? I think it was this set. Yes, this box. This Yu-Gi-Oh set, I think, was then the last time it was prior. Actually, no, it had the Lost Arts. The Lost Art variants, basically, was also the last time it was reprinted. I think. So, I'm pretty sure on that. Technically, we had, actually, I'm telling another fib, because if they were in this, the 25th reprint Legendaries, obviously in Legend of Blue Eyes, they were in LOB, so technically as a reprinted product, that would be the last time it was reprinted, and then obviously alongside the Quarter Centuries. So that, I believe, was the last time that was, and then obviously you need all these things. Without Millennium Cross in hand, I will say that Millennium Cross is obviously, it's the key card in the deck. It's what gets the motor running. Obviously, if your opponent negates anything like the shield, that makes the deck kind of not run. And if you, like I said with Curse of the Forbidden Spell, if you just ultimately negate Millennium Cross, you're relying on the 2750s, Senjin cards, basically, to do it. Because Curse of the Forbidden Spell is you discard a spell card, negate the activation of a spell, and then for the rest of the duel, you cannot activate the effect of that said spell. So, but basically, who's going to be running Curse of the Forbidden Spell? Also, you can do it turn 1. Obviously, Curse is a counter-track card, so obviously you're not necessarily going to play that straight away. But yeah, I would say this. I never like doing number ratings of between 1 and 10. Obviously 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, because other decks that would have that number value, if they're better or worse, you'd be like, what the heck are you on about? But initially, I will say my expectations were initially incredibly low. I have been pleasantly surprised of how the deck kind of worked. Obviously, we saw in that one deck, in the one duel, that was bad. that was really bad. So I will say that if you have a good opening hand, which is obviously RNG, but yeah, ultimately I actually had some decent fun with it. There was some things that I discovered, like Millennium Cross with the Exodia piece in hand. You never want to see Exodia in your hand. Never in your opening hand. They are bricks. And that spell even solidifies it because you're not even shuffling it back into the deck. One thing actually I will try very quickly, because I am very, very curious, but this app may or may not work. Basically, if I go to Deck Manager and I go here, 2 seconds. Okay, so if I find Giant Tronade, so Giant, we're gonna try it, Giant Tronade, how do you spell, Giant Tronade, here we go, Giant Tronade. So if we throw in 3 Giant Tronades, and we'll take out the Ash Blossoms, there we go, nice. Okay, and then we save this deck. And then we do test hands. Stopped. Now, I have no idea what deck they're going to run. This is possibly... Okay, so we didn't draw pretty much anything, but we can... I'm lying. We got stuff. Because we can place this. I love it as any monster. It can be anything. It doesn't matter what it is. But it's the Millennium Shield. That's what we want. So, Millennium Shield, we activate the shield, pay the 2,000 life point cost, we summon this in defense mode. Add then the Millennium Cross from deck to hand. So there we go. Now we have Millennium Cross. Now we've got this. Whoops, daisies. We accept this. So come on. There we go. Okay. And yes. And then yes. And then yes. And then yes. Okay, there we go. And then let's see if we can draw a Giant Tronade. Banish 6. We got Exodia, the Exodia spell card, so that's good. Okay, that's fine. I don't want to chain that. I'm going to basically just keep this in hand, and we're just going to enter in. Okay, and we're not going to do anything. Now they're probably going to attack us, yes, with Key Mace, so that's fine, whatever. I'm not going to activate. I mean, I could trigger this, I suppose. Summon it, play in defense mode, gain the life points to 1 monster. Technically, if this was summoned on the board while this had a lot of life points, this is how you get all the life points back, because this is permanent. So actually, this is not as bad. I thought initially this was the worst one, the Fiend. But technically, you can gain a lot more life points during damage calculation. Actually, yes, I want the 6650. So now if I summoned that effect, that would be insane. So to have the 6,500. Oh, there we go. Draw a Giant Tronade. Okay. So now we have to pay the 1,000 life point cost. Okay. So here we go. So this is the idea. So we activate Giant Trunade. Chain Giant Trunade with Exodo Flame. So Exodo Blaze activates first. Not to Exodia. Select Exodia. So... oh, it didn't do anything. That's interesting. So some people were saying about Exodia with the effect of the thing. Okay, interesting. Now, funny enough, I am gonna do this. Sorry, Nibiru. The reason why is I'm gonna do this. Right. So check this out. We're gonna wait one more turn. Activate this effect. So technically we could do Exodo Blaze next turn. So we'll do that next turn. And the reason why is because we're gonna make this thing ridiculously strong. No, we're not gonna activate that effect. But we're gonna activate this effect. No, negate it, summon it in defense mode. Now we can target this, so we gain all that life points. So now we have a lot of life points, which is awesome. Okay, so they're not attacking us. We can activate this effect, so technically we can reset the track card, but there's no point doing that. Okay, and then we could technically play Giant Trunade, which will return everything back to hand. Oh yeah, the 1,000 life point cost. Oh no, it wasn't the 1,000 life point cost? Battle phase. What I should have done is summon this in attack mode. We could have inflicted some serious life point damage. But obviously damage come. So this is going to gain 20,000 life points. So that's the highest I managed to get that. Because we managed to get that life point increase thanks to that monster. So that's actually the best thing that we got. Okay, so for those who are wondering, Giant Trunade would not return the Exodia pieces back to hand. So that you would win the duel. Because that's what some people were thinking. If you summoned Exodia back to hand, if you played play Giant Trunade, played the quick play spell, what would happen? Would it give you all the 5 pieces? This app, whether this app basically couldn't comprehend it or not, I don't think that's necessarily true. So I think ultimately this would not work. So this is banned anyways. I just wanted to give it a test. I wanted to give it a try with Giant Trunade. But it didn't work, so that's an interesting little fact there. So I'm going to put Ash Blossom back in the deck. Oh, there it is. So Ash Blossom. Nice. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. So yeah, final thoughts. I think it was a pretty interesting deck, pretty interesting strategy. I would take Exodia out of retirement to put this back in. I definitely can say that I was wrong. I'm not ashamed to say that. But okay. If it had its original effects, the and instead of the or, this would be worse. We can agree on that. However, because of the effect changes, of the effect being optional with the or, this is now much better. Now that this is or, this is much better. If it was the and, this would be worse. And I would not recommend playing this. But because it's or, this is much better. I will say that. And I'm happy to say that I was proven wrong. But with obviously the new effects. Being that they were optional. What would you put in the extra deck? Now, obviously, let me know in the comments, because obviously I just put in these fusion cards just for the Pot of Prosperity, get rid of them, like, effect, essentially. What would your side deck be, like, because at the moment I don't even have a side deck, what would you put in there? What would your extra deck be? And would you keep it as a pure engine? Or would you try to use a different deck strategy with it? Would you use different cards? Now, this is obviously a 40 card deck. So would you make it a 60 card deck? Would you not? Would you keep it as the 40? Would you change, so it had multiple engines, or just this engine? So because some people said Runic and this, would you do that or would you not do that? So let me know in the comments below. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content like this one. And as always, party on, peeps. Take care, guys. It was great to see you in this video, and we will see you again in the next one.